How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at Scrub Games, and today we are back with another episode of our Understanding How to Build series, where we go over each of the leaders in a given set to help you understand how to build them to suit you and your playstyle. And we've gone through the blue ones, we've gone through the green ones, and now we are going through the red ones, and starting off on the dark side before we go to the light side. And we're starting off with Bossk, hunting his prey. So if you're interested in learning how to build Bossk and help it understand him, then feel free to keep watching. And also remember, you can like the video as well. You can comment down below if you have any suggestions or if you have any comments. And also don't forget to subscribe. It keeps you updated with my videos as and when they drop. And also by clicking the notification bell, you can also get alerts when videos do drop, so you can watch them there and then, or at a later time that suits you best. Now, do bear in mind that in this series, we do not offer deck lists because that's not what this is about. We're not here to spoon feed you deck lists. We're here to help you understand with some information and knowledge to help you understand how to build the leaders to help suit you and your playstyle, because people play differently and some of the leaders are different as well. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and help you understand how to build Bossk. So, like we do in the video, we always like to go over the leader to help you understand what they want to do, because some of them could be very generic ones, and some of them could be very thematic ones. And with Bossk, he's more of a thematic leader, like with a kind of key way to play, because he's all about bounties, because he's a bounty hunter after all, but he's all about the new mechanic of bounty, so you've got to think about what the leader wants to do to help understand it. So with him, he's about bounties. And not only that, he also gives you the traits Underworld and Bounty Hunter, which are quite nice. Like Bounty Hunter and Underworld are both traits that are improved in, well, given more support in this set, in the second set, and they had a little bit from the first set, mainly in the yellow aspect, being Cunning. And not only that, he also gives you access to the aggression aspect, which is red, and the villainy aspect, which is black. And these are relevant because there's an aspect point which you go over in a little bit when we come to the aspects, but he provides you with those two. Not only that, he is also a leader that deploys quite early at 5 resources, which is pretty nice. Comes as early down as turn 4 unless you ramp, it come out a little bit sooner. And also, he comes down with some pretty solid stats. At 4 power, which is not too bad, and 6 health, which is not too bad as well. Because at least with the 6 health, it means you're out the way of takedown range, so you can't be just instantly taken out before you can even get to do anything with your leader. And you kind of want to keep Bossk out, because the longer he's out and deployed, the better you can get, the more benefit you can get from the bounties. So let's have a look at him and see what his effects are, because it's a little bit different on either side, but they both are around basically having a bounty out. And what Bossk does in the lead areas when he's not deployed, he has an action effect which requires you to tap him as the cost, and that allows you to deal 1 damage to a unit that has a bounty. So it can either be a bounty you've put on via upgrade, or a card that just comes in and actually has a bounty on it. And then after you've done that, you can then, if you want to, you don't have to because you may, give it a +1 power for this phase. So if you want, you can boost the power of the card if you want to. I don't know why you want to on your opponent's cards, but on yours you could potentially do if you want to make yours stronger but take some damage on it. But this is a great way to kind of ping more damage on your opponent's cards that have bounties, so you can kind of chip away at them to make it easier to take him out, so you can claim that bounty. Because remember, a bounty is something either a card already has, or it can be put onto it with an upgrade, where it now has a bounty where if it's defeated, or if that card is defeated or captured, the opponent gains the bounty on it, which would be described in the card. So it could be like you've got wanted, like you untap 2 resources or thing like that. So if you have it on yours and it's defeated, your opponent is the opponent, so they would claim the bounty. But if you put on your opponent, so your opponent has cards with bounty, if when they're defeated, you claim it as their opponent, which is quite nice. Now, when Bossk is deployed, he has a little bit of a different side to his effect, which still is all around bounty, but a little bit different in like what he wants to do with a bounty. So his effect when he's deployed is when you collect a bounty, so it's all about collecting them, you may collect that bounty again, and you can only use the ability once each round. Which means when you're collecting any bounty, as long as it can be collected twice, you can collect it twice. So like if you had Wanted, which is a bounty, which we'll see in a bit, which can allow you to untap 2 resources when you claim the bounty. If you have Bossk deployed and you claim that bounty, you can claim it twice. You can go untap 2 and untap another 2 after. Or even with the ramp one, you can ramp once, ramp again, or even there's like the Mark of the Death, which is draw 2. You can draw 4 from Bossk because you're about claiming it twice. So Bossk has some very nice potential for his effect when he's deployed, but the thing is, you got to keep him deployed if you want to get a full benefit of him. He does still go quite well in the leader area, but it's mainly when he's deployed is what you want to have, and you want to keep him out as long as possible, because claiming bounties twice is fantastic. So also, He has a showcase lead, remember, so all leaders have a showcase, even the star decks for this set. And yeah, remember, artist subjective, so if you like it, that's fair enough. If you don't like it, that's also fair enough. My personal opinion, Bossk doesn't have the best showcase. It looks like one of those old 1950s kind of looks for the I know like Bossk is back when the original trilogy of films like back years and years ago, where it's like quite old before like we had as what we got with up to date like CGI and stuff. But he looks even further like in the showcase. He looks even further back to like the 1950s and 1940s when it comes to like cinematic with like the Godzilla stop motion and stuff like that. So I personally don't like the showcase. It doesn't look that great. It's not a nice one, but people have the taste. If you like it, that's fair enough. So that is the showcase. And we also have some different bounties. So I want to go over like all the kind of different bounties. You have bounties in each of the different colors. So if you want to go with a certain kind of color combination or aspect combination, then you have plenty of options for when it comes to upgrades. What's the bounties? And bounties can come in the form of either upgrades or cards that actually have inherently bounties on them. And like you see here, like if you have any of these attached, then you gain a bounty and it describes what the bounty is. So you got in blue, you got a nice one in Public Enemy, which is a 0 cost upgrade. And also none of them, no bounties gives upgrades to stats because you won't be giving updates to stats because all you're doing is putting a bounty on the card. You're not giving it stats. You're just placing this bounty on it so you can try and claim it. And for Public Enemy, the bounty you get if you capture or defeat the card is give a shield token to a unit. Remember, with Bossk, you can claim that twice. You can give 2 shield tokens to a unit or to individual units. So you can give a shield to a shield each to 2 different units, or you can give 2 shields to 1 unit if you have Bossk out, or if you're just gaining a shield, which is still very good. Then you have Price in your head. Now this one costs 2 because it's a pretty nice one. Is all around like ramping, which you want kind of balance it out with making it at least cost 2. And the bounty is put the top card of your deck in your player's resource. So it's a never option to ramp, so we get a fair few more of each set for green to have the ramp. And it's a pretty nice one. If you do claim it with Bossk while he's deployed, you can do that twice. I mean, you can ramp 2 cards, which is great. But remember, because it doesn't say how the card comes in, it always comes in rested unless otherwise stated. Now you got Deathmark. This is all about the drawing. So this one is draw 2 cards, the bounty. So with Bossk out, you can draw 4 cards. You can claim it twice. You can go claim the bounty and claim it again. Draw 4 cards. Very nice. Does cost 2 though, which is fair enough. And then you got Wanted. So this is a 0 cost upgrade, just like Public Enemy. And this one is ready to friendly resources. So with Bossk deployed, you can untap up to 4 resources with this, and it costs 0 to put onto a card, so that makes it even better in that form. But those are not all the bounties you have, but there's some of the very best ones, most beneficial ones with Bossk players out that you can potentially get off. So when it comes to after now we've gone over like what the bounties are and stuff like that, we'll have a look at the different aspect combinations because with your leader you can also have a base. So that's how you play the game. You have a leader and a base, and depending on what aspect your base has, you have a different combination. So you have either like Bossk himself provides you with the aggression and villainy aspects, and with a blue base with vigilance, you go for red blue. With a command base being green, you get red green. And if you go for a red base being aggression, you can go for double red. That will benefits to them. And then if you go with cunning being yellow, you go for a red yellow. Now each of these different combinations are basically have different ways to play because each aspect has a certain kind of play style to it. So it'll help you understand. Before we get into that, we've got to learn about the aspect penalty. Because while you can have a combination of base to get these different aspect combinations, there is something called the aspect penalty. And what it basically means is if you go to play a card and any of the aspects on the card do not match what is on your leader or base, you have to pay an extra 2 per resource that doesn't match in addition to the card's cost. So if you went with a blue base, so Vigilance, and you had the combination of black, green, and blue, those are the aspects you have. So if you want to play a card that is solely blue, red, or black, or a card that is both black, red, or black, blue, then you don't have to worry about aspect penalty because all the aspects match. So then you would have to just pay the card for its cost. But however, if you were playing that same combination and you want to play a green card, you do not have green among your base or your leader, so you have to pay an extra 2 because the green aspect doesn't match. So if it was a free cost and it was green, you have to pay 5 because the card costs 3 plus extra 2 for each aspect that doesn't match. And then if you wanted to play a green-white card, so a command heroic card, now you have 2 aspects on the card that do not match what's on your leader or base, and you have to pay an extra 2 per. So if you're playing a free cost card that was green white with your aspect combination of black, red, blue, you would have to play an extra 2 per, so that card would cost 3, plus an extra 2 for each one, being a 7 total, just to play out a free cost card. Now, while some cards are kind of worth playing this penalty, you got to consider what, if it's worth playing the card in the deck and how it functions with your synergy and your strategy. There also are cards that are double aspect. So like there are cards we'll see that are double red, double blue, double green, or double yellow. Now these can still be played, and however, aspects only provide one aspect. So even if you had, let's say we're going to play a double red card, now while your leader would have the red aspect on it, you'd only have one red aspect on it, so one red icon. So because you don't have a second red icon, you still have to beat an aspect penalty. So if you were to play like aggression, the event for double red, then you would have red from Bossk, but if you don't have a red base, you still have to pay an extra 2, meaning it would cost 6 in total if you were playing Bossk with a red base. So do bear that in mind when it comes to it. And also the aspects themselves. So you might be thinking, what do the aspects want to do? Because each of the aspects, as I said, have kind of identity of how they want to play. And with Vigilance, which is the blue aspect, it's one that wants to play defensively, so it's a very defensive color, with the abilities to like heal damage from your base, remove dangerous units from play using events, and also protect your base from any attacks with like Sentinel and stuff like that. Now, if you want to play this aspect, it's perfect for if you like a very patient play style and like very grindy games. So if you are more like that kind of person, like a very control kind of matchup or kind of like strategy, it's a good one for you to go for. Now, then there is Command, which is the green one. Now, this is one that wants to accelerate your resources and call upon like a load of units, like spam a board of very wide but units going like loads of units, or play very big units that like very like singular units that have like a lot of bulk to them, a lot of power, just very big units. Now, this is a perfect choice if you want to like overwhelm your opponent with a massive board presence, just overwhelm with overall advantage on your board. This is a great one to do. So this is more of a ramp color and like overwhelming with a huge board presence. Then we have Aggression, which is the aspect that Bossk is himself, and Aggression is almost like what like the name suggests, is a very aggressive kind of aspect. So what I want to do is attack with a maximum efficiency and do out loads of damage, even if it's the board or base. And it's a great fit for anybody who prefers fast-paced, like aggressive playstyles that want to just smash through your opponent's defenses and hurl like damage at them until you win. Basically, be very aggressive. So if you're a very like aggressive, like go balls to the wall kind of strategy, like just throw damage at face and be aggressive, then this is a perfect aspect for you. And then we have the last of the color ones being Cunning. Now this is like a very like Swiss Army knife kind of aspect, because what it wants to do is adapt to any situation with powerful immediate effects and use loads of tools to disrupt your opponent's kind of gameplay. And now this is an aspect that is perfect if you like to respond quickly to things and have an answer for almost everything your opponent tries to throw at you, and be very control, but like actually progressing while controlling as well. So if you like to have an answer to everything, then Cunning is probably one of the best ways to play for you. So those are the aspects, so hopefully that helps you understand what the aspects are going to do and what aspect combination you want to go for. And we're going to get into what kind of benefits there are in each of these aspects as well with colors, so you can understand a bit better of each one, what might suit you best and stuff. Before we get into that, we want to cover the ratios, because in this game you can have up to 3 copies of a given card. So you can play either 1 copy of a card, 2 copies of a card, or a full 3 play set. And there are benefits to each one. So 3 copies of a card are usually for cards that you want to see as many copies of as possible, or as a card you want to see as early as possible. So things like Price for Your Head, this is a bounty that you want to basically get the most benefit off with Bossk, so get deployed, get this out. So you want to make sure you see this when you need it, so you play 3 copies of it, because when you drop it and then put it onto a card and then basically deploy Bossk, take it out, you get that double ramp, and that can be very beneficial because that'll ramp you up very quickly to get even further in the game and start playing bigger threats. And this is a card you would likely want to see even as many as possible, just start putting down your opponent's units early, so when you do go and collect them, you can collect them as best as possible. And then you have cards that you might have 2 copies of, and these are more for cards that are ones that you don't want to see too many early game, or maybe not even see early, but see late game, but don't want to see too many copies of it. So they're more like bigger costing cards or late game kind of things, like Fennec Shand here, for example, because she is a 7 cost, so very expensive card. So you got to get to quite late in the game, and if you're not ramping, you got to wait a little bit, quite a while to do that. And she offers a very good effect, but very late game deploy. So you might not want to see too many of these cards in your opening hand, because either then you're resourcing them where you're not going to have access to them again unless they have smuggle, and if you want to keep hold of them, then you have less of a hand with less options because you keep it over card ready for the late game rather than just getting out of your hand, so you have better options. So these might cards you have 2 copies of, so that way you don't hopefully see it too early or clog too many early and then see them later game when you want to use them. And then the last one we have is 1 copies of a card. This is normally for cards that are like tech choices or cards that are for very specific matchups that like 9 out of 10 you won't see, but on 10th time when you see, you'd be happy you have this card. And it could be ones that may be useful but not useful in every situation. You might just want to put a single copy of, just so it could be, if you see it, you see it, and it's helpful. If you don't see it, you don't need it, then it's not too bad. So like Devastator here being a very good space unit for later game, very high costing, very powerful, but very good effect. But you don't want to see it early, and sometimes it might be as useful, like you might not even get to that point in the stage where you can play this, but if you come to like a situation where it's very useful and you do see it, it can be very handy there. So hopefully that's helped you understand the ratios, like when you want to have 3, 2, or 1 copies of a card. Now we'll check out the aspects and kind of see what each one gives you. So we're going to start off with the red one, so double red, because back when we had just set 1, we had a very limited card board if you want to go red, because essentially you had dual aspects. If you wanted to go, say, for red and blue, you'd have access to all the red cards and all the blue cards. But with that, if you wanted to go double aspect and go red, you sacrifice a whole different aspects, all the like every aspect of a card, just to have access to 3 double aspect cards, which were Saw Gerrera, Rallying Cry, and Aggression. Now, back in set 1, double aspects were not a great way to play, except for some certain leaders. Like, there's only specific leaders that were kind of had the good benefit of running them. So most leaders run double aspect, and there's only one of each aspect that wanted to run double. But for red, it was not a good double aspect, because while you had some pretty nice cards in these double aspects, you didn't have a great card pool to kind of make a better use of it. But now with the second set, you've got better use because you've got double the amount of red cards, double red cards, red, black, red, white, double of everything essentially, to have more options to go double red. So white wasn't a great one to go for in set 1. In set 2, it's actually a very decent option. And with each aspect, you've got 2 kind of bases. You've either got the many 30 health bases, which we didn't get any more rare bases, we got in 1 rare. But you've got either the 30 health bases, which are 30 health but have no effect, or you have the rare base, which has 25 health, so 5 less than a normal one. But at the loss of that 5 health, you have access to an epic action, which is an action just like deploying on your leader that you use once a game. And for red, it's Tarkin Town, which the effect is deal 3 damage to a damaged non-leader unit. Now you notice with all these these rare bases, they don't really want to have any interaction with a leader whatsoever, so they won't touch a leader. But they have some very good effects, and Tarkin's very nice. It doesn't just throw out free damage for nothing. It is a nice way to kind of finish things off. So if you try to take out something, but you're just quite a little bit short, not quite there, you'll finish it off. Tarkin Down is there to help to just finish it off for you. And you can only use it once a game, so you got to be careful when you use it. Make sure you use it at the right time. So that is the rare base. So you got to think for yourself: do you want a 30 health base that has maximum amount of health, or is the loss of 5 health worth the epic action? Can you make use of it fully? So once you understand if that effect's worth the 5 health, or you prefer to have the full amount of health at 30, then that's where you get your base started. But for double red, you are losing access to a different aspect. So you're losing access to a whole different aspect to lock yourself to just red, and also have access to these 6 currently for set 2 double aspect cards. Now, some pretty nice ones. For set 1, you had Saw Gerrera being a very cool unit, where when he's out, if your opponent wants to use any event, they have to pay an additional cost of damaging their base by 2. So if they want to play any base, any event, they have to pay the cost for the event, plus will take 2 damage to their base to be able to play the card. If they can't take 2 damage, they can't play the card. So that's quite cool there. And he's a unique unit, so you can have one on the board, but then its stats aren't amazing. But they are pretty nice for a 4 cost, better than a 5 cost like General Crow. But he was not one that was very used, but it could be a nice way if you want to do that burn damage like kind of taxing game. Then we've got Rallying Cry, which is a very nice one. This is a nice one for if you can get a very wide board of loads of units on board. This is very good, because it's a free cost event that allows you to give it gives all your friendly units raid 2 for this phase. So all units you have out this phase gain raid 2. So when they attack, they gain extra 2 power. So if you go for a wide board, that's a lot of units that's hitting for an extra 2 more than they normally would, to kind of push for a game-winning swing. And this is one that was very good in set one, well, very good card, but set one with having a very low amount of units in just red, because then if you're paying out every unit, so you're creating SP penalty. So if you want to play it, and even then with the SP penalty for this, it's a 5 instead of 3. If you just want to play red and have a different aspect, but with more red cards, you can make better use of this to kind of go for a very aggressive swarmy board. And then you got aggression, which is one of the was at the time one of the worst ones of the events, because it wasn't that great. Like, you always saw people running Cunning, you always saw people running Vigilance, and you saw some people running Command in their decks. But you rarely ever saw, well, never really ever saw aggression being used, because each aspect does have a 4-cost event like this for set 1 that is named after the aspect itself, and they also gave you 4 options. You could choose any 2 in any order to use. And for aggression, they were nice, but not as good as the rest of them, because the options are either draw a card, defeat up to 2 upgrades, ready a unit that has 3 or less power, or deal 4 damage to a unit. So pretty nice options, but not as great as the other ones back in set 1. But for this set, with set 2, more options, more things to do, this is a little bit better. And then for set 2, you get 3 brand new double aspects. So you get Bo-Katan Kreese as a unit, just like a Soul double aspect, but a very cheap one. And it's a 2-cost 3/3, which is very good stats for its cost. And has a pretty solid effect of when defeated. For each player with 15 more damage on their base, you draw a card. And remember, that counts players. It could be you and your opponent in a single player game, or in a Twin Suns game that can affect all 4 players. So if you're playing a 1-on-1 game and you got 15 damage on your base, your opponent has 15 damage on their base. When she's defeated, you draw 2 cards, because both your bases are 15 damage. So she's a really nice one, and a very good one to play turn 1 as well. And then you got Wild Rancor being a pretty cool one, being a 6-cost with 6 power and 8 health, so bulky and with good power. Has Overwhelm, and when played, you can deal 2 damage to each ever friendly ground unit, as opposed to yours and your opponent's. So your opponent's going quite big with the ground ring, you can just slap this down and do a lot of damage to all the units, even yours as well. And it's to other units that doesn't affect itself. And then another event that goes really well with Rallying Cry for that very aggressive playstyle is the Chaos of War. Now, once again, it's never a 3-cost event, just like Rallying Cry, and it's a very good effect. It allows you to deal 3 damage, deal damage to each player's base equal to the number of cards in that player's hand. Now, while you're playing aggressive, you're probably just chucking out as many cheap units as possible and just keep swinging at base and do as much damage. And Chaos War is quite a nice one, just for when your opponent gets close to it, you can do potentially a lot of damage, or just not too much damage, depending on the cards in hand. If you're playing against an opponent that has a load of cards in hand, this can slap down and do a ton of damage to their base, which is really nice. And if they don't have many cards in hand, then it won't do too much damage. But this could be a way to finish off even better than For a Cause of Believing, because you can do a lot more damage to just 4, whereas For a Cause is limited to like 4 maximum, but then maybe less depending on what you see. Whereas this could be a lot more or even a lot less. So it's double aspects. If you want to go very aggressive, then double red is a good one to go through. Maybe not the best for Bossk, but it is an option you can have. And then we go on to the other aspects. So now we have Vigilance. Remember, this is the more controlling one with many options about like being very defensive and go for a grindy game. And for its rare base, you have Security Complex, with the epic action of giving a shield token to a non-leader unit. So for once a game, you can protect a unit with a shield token. And remember, what a shield does is if the next time that card will take damage, it loses the shield itself instead. So this is really nice, and this has got some nice synergy with Bossk as well, because you can get some nice bounties, because you saw with the, you got the bounty where you can gain a shield, which is pretty cool. So you can put that on Bossk to kind of keep him out and keep him protected. And you have some pretty nice units in the dark side. So you have Dr. Persian being a very nice one. Very cheap 2-cost one with some nice bulk at 5, and it's got a nice action whereby dealing 1 damage to a friendly unit and tapping himself, you can draw cards. You can gain more cards, kind of dig for those bounties to see them as quickly as possible, so you can start chucking them out and claiming them from Bossk. As well as that, you have another good 2-cost unit, which very early good for turn 1. It helps out as well, is Inferno 4. There being more of a space unit instead of a ground unit, that when played or when defeated, allows you to look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put any number of them on the bottom of your deck and the rest on the top. So you can kind of order what you're going to draw next, to kind of put the card, if any cards you don't see like from the top 2, to the bottom, so you can kind of focus on drawing something different. You also have a unit that can help you gain bounties, which is the Client, which is a very good synergy with Bossk, because Bossk is all about bounties, like pinging damage on things with bounties, or claiming bounties twice, and the Client goes very well because it's a unit that can just give out bounties every turn, just by tapping himself, because it's a very nice unit at 3 costs, so very cheap. Also with some good stats at 2-5, and also comes as shielded, so it comes in protected for on the first time it comes in, so it protects off on the first lot of damage it takes. And his effect is action, just like Dr. Persian where you tap himself, but this one is choose a unit, and for this phase you give it a bounty, and that bounty is heal 5 health from a base. So you can essentially get this onto your opponent, one of your opponent's units. So now when it's defeated, you heal 5 damage to your base, and you can take it out with Bossk while he's deployed, and then you heal 10 damage to your base because Bossk will double that. So pretty nice way to kind of keep yourself in the game. Very good blue, very good synergy. You also have Long Pike as a very nice way to kind of protect Bossk as well, because it's a very cheap unit at 4 cost 4/6, and it can be smuggled out as well. So if you want to resource it so you can smuggle it out, you can do that. And it's got a very nice effect where on attack, you can give a shield token to an enemy unit, and if you do, give a shield token to a friendly unit. Now you might be thinking, why would you want to give a shield token to an enemy unit just to give it to one of your own? Well, main thing is, by being able to give it a shield token to one of your opponents, you can give a shield token to Bossk, so that way he's protected to stay on the board as long as possible. So when you're claiming bounties, you're claiming double the bounty. And not only that, you can put the shield on a unit that's you don't really care about, that's a very weak, maybe a very weak space unit, like your opponent's opposing opponent preferring a 4, which is only doing little bits of damage, while then putting the shield on Bossk. So if your opponent's got a space unit, you have nothing in space, you have to worry about it. You can keep putting a shield on that space unit. We're also putting a shield on Bossk, and now while they're not really gaining much from just having a shield on a small space unit, you're putting a shield on something that you want to protect, that you prefer to keep around, like Bossk. Not only that, but you have some good events in the Dark Side Blue as well, like Power Dark Side, and one that lets you make your opponent have the hard choice of just KOing or defeating a unit they control. Now this is one that's more beneficial the smaller your opponent's board is, because the smaller they have, the less options they have of something cheap to get rid of, so more of a chance of then getting something you want to get rid of. But the bigger board they've got means the more options they have, which means the weaker they can just chuck off the weaker one they have, and they don't really care about much of it. So it's a card that works better with a smaller board from your opponent and a wider board. Now, in the non-dark side of blue, we have some pretty nice ones. You have Survivor's Gauntlet as well. A very nice one, a space unit that comes down and can move around upgrades. So you can move around any upgrade on your opponent's side to another card on their opponent's side. So move around upgrades and bounties. So you can either move bounties around to a card you kind of either want to take out and are aiming to take out to then claim the bounty as well to get the benefit of both worlds, or moving a bounty off something that's probably not going to die to something that can die, so you can claim it easier. Or even just move around upgrades that your opponents put on themselves to kind of move off something, so you don't really have to deal with it being that. So putting lightsabers off of a big unit to a smaller unit, so you have to worry about too much. You even have Fenral, which has an effect to kind of put bounties out. So he's a 6 cost 5/6, but when he's played, you can play an upgrade from your hand and it costs 2 less. So you can kind of put out a bounty for cheaper, that might cost something. And when you do play an upgrade on yourself, then you get to give an enemy unit -2/2 for the phase. So putting any benefits on your opponent, even like shield tokens on Fenral, you can minus something by 2/2 to help it take it out or make it easy to deal with. Not only that, but you got some pretty nice upgrades. Like we got Public Enemy again. There are other ones in the in blue. I just forgot to put a different one in, and Public Enemy, because Public Enemy is the best one. Give a shield token to your unit. Very nice. And you've got some instant event removals as well, because you've got events like Takedown, which allows you to take out any unit has 5 or less remaining HP, or even Fell the Dragon, allows you to take out any non-leader unit that has 5 or more power. So blue has a lot of good events that allow you to instantly take them out. So it means you can put bounties on, instantly take them out, and just claim that straight away. So that is blue. Then we move on to green, being command, and this one is the one that has the most overplayed base, being Energy Conversion Lab. Because once again, just like the other ones, it's got the options of a 30 health base with no effect, or a rare base with 25 health and an action. And for the command, the epic action is play a unit that costs 6 or less from your hand and give it ambush for this phase. Now, ambush is a very good keyword that allows you to ready a unit and attack it to one of your opponent's units the same turn it's played, which normally it would just come in rested. So this is a really nice effect, and while you still have to still pay the cost of the card, so you're not playing it for free, you're paying the cost of it still. But you give it with ambush, which is a very good skill and very worth it. Now you have to figure out if that's worth the 5 less health. And like recently, I've seen it being dropped a bit, but it's still one of the best bases, probably the best base in the game at the moment. Not only that, but you have some good cards in the dark side of green. So you have things like Salacious Crumb here, being able to give you a little bits of healing. Well, when it's played, you heal damage to your base, and then you keep using it over and over again because it's got a way to bounce it back to hand. As an action ability where you tap him, return it back to your hand, deal 1 damage to a ground unit. So it's got a nice way to kind of heal your base to kind of keep you in the game longer, plus also deal some chip damage to kind of help take out things with bounties. And alongside that, you also have Crosshair being a very good unit. 4 cost, 261, so very good stats for its cost. And it also has a nice little way to kind of help you chip damage on units that have bounties, so you can kind of take them out without needing to sack into them. Because it's got 2 effects. First one is an action that means you need to pay 2 resources. And if you do, this unit gains an extra 1 plus power for this phase. You might be thinking that's not great, but it ties very well with Zephyr effect, being an action where you tap him, and this unit deals damage equal to its power to an enemy ground unit. So a nice thing you can do is play out Crosshair, kind of boost him up with like an upgrade that lets you boost his his stats, like his power and health, and you can do more damage to things without needing to attack. So you can kind of trigger bounties without needing to attack into them, and then get the best benefit out of them. Not only that, you have some really nice big units as well. Like you have Mole, very nice one that goes very well with if you have more underworld units, because it's got like Vader level stats, 7 cost, 7/6. Ambush and Overwhelm means it can attack straight away till it comes out into opponent units, and then if it takes out a unit and it does more damage to that card's health, then the excess damage is dealt to your opponent's base thanks to Overwhelm. And not only that, it protects itself as well, because when he attacks, you can choose a never friendly underworld unit, and if you do any combat damage that would be dealt to Mole from that attack, it's dealt to that chosen unit instead. So you can kind of have Mole come in, take something out, but take no damage back because something else will take it for him. You also have Jabba's Rancor. Now this is one you can play probably cheaper than Jabba, but still good for Bossk as well. Because an 8 cost 9/9, so very good very good statted ground unit. And when it's played or when it attacks, you can deal 3 damage to a never friendly ground unit, and then 3 damage to an enemy ground unit. So you can like do 3 damage to something you don't care about, that you don't care if it's died or already attacked, and then have Jabba do Jabba's Rancor and do damage to it to kind of help trigger bounties and take things out. And it's got a whopping 9 power as well and 9 health, so it's hitting hard and tanking hard as well. Not only that, you also have Overwhelm Barrage, so another way to kind of spam out damage, because it's a very nice event, all if you set one of the best. That 5 cost allows you to give it a plus 2 to the stats, which is not amazing, but it also then allows the unit you gave the benefit to deal damage equal to its power divided as you choose among any number of units on the board. So you can give something a big boost like Crosshair and then have it deal its damage, whatever its power is after that, as damage across your opponent's board, or across the board, but you won't want to do it to yourself. And you have Crosshair afterward be able to do more damage to a unit as well with its big power up. So very nice stuff in the dark side of green. And in the normal side of green, you've got some very good things like your Lauren, allowing you to have a bit more heal when a command unit is played, including himself. You heal damage from your base. Good, cheap unit with decent stats. You got reputable Hunter as well. A little mouthful there for to say. But this one's a 3 cost 3/4, so very good stats. You normally see all things like the Millennium Falcon, things like that. But this one's completely cheaper because if your opponent has a bounty, this unit costs 1 less to play. So you can potentially play a bounty out turn 1 that bounty costs 0 to upgrade on a unit turn 1 to then play out reputable Hunter turn 1, so you can kind of claim that bounty as soon as possible. You also have great units in for space, like late game units that have Artiquin's Assault Cruiser, which is an 8 cost 7/8 that has ambush, that can attack same turn as played, and if it does take out an enemy unit that's not attack and defeat a non-leader unit, you can put that defeated unit into play as a resource under your control. So you can kind of take out your opponent's units and ramp them into your resources to use, which is really, really nice. You not only that, but you have some upgrades that we saw pricing your head, everyone's in green as well. And you also have a way to kind of capture and claim the bounties without attacking in Take Capture, where it allows you to a friendly unit to capture an enemy non-leader unit in the same arena. So you can use that to kind of capture, put a bounty on something and capture it, so you can claim that bounty, because bounties are claimed when you defeat that card, or capture them to basically get its bounties. So you've got nice ways to do it there. Remember, green is all about ramping, kind of going for a wide or tall board to overwhelm them that way. Then we have the last aspect before going into Bossk's own aspects, and we have Cunning. Now, Cunning is really nice. It doesn't have the best rare base in the game, because its rare base is, like the everyone's 25 health, but its epic action is give a non-leader unit -4 power per phase. That's going to be kind of useful for Bossk, because it then means you can make something weaker, so you can kind of claim the bounty a little bit easier, or even make it so something doesn't deal as much damage when going against it. And in the dark side, you've got some pretty nice cards, very good cards that have benefits to bounties and everything. So you've got Bazine Natel being a very nice hand control card, because when she's played, you get look at your opponent's hand and discard a card from them for them. So you get look at your opponent's hand, have that hand knowledge, and then rip a card out their hand. But then if you do, they draw a card to replace it. So you then get to have the hand knowledge, rip a card you didn't want on hand, but they just draw it back. But at least you know what the rest of the cards do, and got rid of something that you don't want them to have. You can also smuggle her in as well, so you have a smuggle cost, so you can always resource if you want to. And then you have Hunter of the Haxan Brood, being a very nice one that kind of goes well with Bossk because it's free cost 4/3, so pretty good stats. But then, if your opponent enemy unit has a bounty, which you can like your whole focus of Bossk is to put bounties out there, then this unit has shielded, so it means when it's played, it comes in with a shield. So if you put a bounty on your opponent's cards and then play this card after, because your opponent has a card of bounty, he comes in with a shield. Pretty nice way then to start claiming bounties and not worry about being taken out before anything. And then you got Bossk here, like himself in the card form in Cunning, and he's a 5-cost 4/5 ambush, so you can attack the same turn he's played onto an enemy unit. And if you do play an event, you can deal 2 damage to a unit to kind of do more chip damage to take out things with bounties. Then you also have Dryden Voss, which is a very nice way to kind of go with the whole thing with bounty, because as I said, how you claim bounty is either by KOing the card and claiming the bounty or capturing it. Now, if you go for more of a capture route, which can go very well with the Cunning way, then you can make use of that card that you have captured after claiming the bounty and make use of that card yourself, because Dryden's got a very nice effect, also with good stats like Vader, being 7-cost 5/7. Also comes in shielded, which is very nice as well, but when he's played, you can choose a captured card guarded by a unit you control and play it for free under your control. So if you put a bounty on something using for a Bossk and then take and capture it to claim the bounty, you can then use Dryden to then use that card you captured to play it as under your control for free, which is very nice. So basically, capture your opponent's card to claim a bounty, and you use Dryden to basically put it into players in your control. And you also have some very good events like No Good to Be Dead. This is a very nice one because how the turn play works in Star Wars is instead of having your draw and charge and untap phase at the beginning, and then the rest of the turn after that, it's kind of reversed in Star Wars, where at the start of your turn is your main phase where you play all your stuff out, deploy cards, play cards, and tap things down. And then at the end of the turn is when you draw resource and then untap. So with how No Good to Be Dead works, you source the unit and it can't ready for this round. So when it comes to the end of the turn, when you normally untap, it can't because of the condition of No Good to Be Dead. So when it comes to the next turn, it's rested, meaning you can rest the card for 2 turns straight, which is really nice. And then on the non-dark side of yellow, of Cunning, you have some other units as well. So you have Chinko Collector, where he's a 4-cost 4/2 that has ambush, and on attack, if the defender has a bounty, which is kind of like Bossk's thing, the card is attacking gets -4 power for that attack. I mean, you can survive even though he's got 2 health. You also have Fennec Shan, which also has ambush, very nice one, 7-cost 4/6, so a very high late game card. But when she attacks, you can deal damage to the defender for each different cost among cards in your discard pile. So if you've got a card cost from 1 to 7, that's 7 damage she's putting out to the card she's attacking. If you've got 7 different costs in your discard. You also have some pretty nice bounties in Wanted, like we've seen before as well. And also Yellow gives you a way to kind of search your bounties for more consistency in bounty posting, which is a 1-cost event that allows you to search your deck for a bounty, upgrade, reveal it, and draw it. And then you can also play that upgrade onto a unit if you can pay the cost. So you can essentially, if you can pay 1 to kind of search your deck for Wanted, reveal it, draw it, and shuffle your deck, and then play it straight onto one of your units as long as you've got the resource to play it, which Wanted, of course, costs 0. Not only that, but you can also make use of capture mechanic and very well with Bossk, because Bossk, if you remember, has the traits Underworld and Bounty Hunter. And you got a very nice event in Reckless Pursuit, which is a 3-cost event that allows you to choose a friendly unit, and then it, which would be your leader or one of your other units, and it captures an enemy non-leader unit that costs the same as or less than it, so less than its cost. And remember, leaders do kind of have a cost. They're the in the corner like the rest, but it's normally the turn they deployed. So for Bossk, it's 5. And if the friendly unit is a bounty hunter, which Bossk is, then you give a shield token to it. So you can use Reckless Pursuit once you drop that Bossk to claim a unit as a bounty, so that you capture the bounty and capture it twice because of Bossk. You also have the card capped under Bossk, and because Bossk is a bounty hunter, you get to gain a shield on Bossk as well, which is very, very nice. So Reckless Pursuit is a very good card to help claim those bounties and also protect Bossk as well. So that is all the Cunning stuff, and also you have some pretty nice stuff in the in the aspects of like just solely villainy, and also the non-aspect cards, because there are cards that don't have aspects in there as well. They're normally grey, and you've got nice ones like Toro Calican, which has a whole like thing around having bounty hunters, because when you play another bounty hunter, you can deal damage to that bounty hunter that you just played, and then restand Toro. You can only do it once a round. You also have Bounty Guild Initiate, which when played, if you control another bounty hunter, you can deal 2 damage to a ground unit. And then you have Ritual Ward being another bounty, like a non-aspect bounty, that you pay for 1 and gives the bounty of giving experience tokens up to 2 units. Now this is a nice one because you can play any aspect combinations regardless of the aspect, because it has none, and have the ever extra bounty of giving 2 experience tokens to up to 2 units. So you can't just give 2 to 1 unit. You have to give you have 2 upgrades to give in experience tokens, but you have to give them to different units. So you can give 2, 1 each. And then you might be thinking, what kind of things does Bossk offer? It is red-black aspects. Well, he offers you some pretty nice ones in his red-black one, being like you got Dengar being a very nice 1-cost unit, where if you play an upgrade on a unit, you can deal 1 damage to it. So if you have Dengar and you put an upgrade on your opponent's unit, you do a damage from that, from Dengar. Then you can do a damage from Bossk as the leader. Then you've also got Django Fett and Kristansson, which have good benefits if your opponent has a bounty. Because Django's a 4-cost free 6, and Kristansson is a 5-cost free 7. And Django, while attacking a unit with bounty, he gains extra free power and gains overwhelm. And then when he attacks, when he attacks and defeats a unit, you draw a card as well. So it's great synergy with that. And you have Kristansson, where when he's played, if an enemy unit has a bounty, you ready it, so you can attack. You basically come in ready. Well, he come in and he ready himself if your opponent has a bounty, so he can attack straight away. And when he does attack, you can choose a ground unit and deal 1 damage on it for each damage on himself. So that is what we've got there. You also have Imperial Interceptors as well, being a very good space unit, being a 4-cost free 2 that allows you, when played, to deal 3 damage to a space unit. So if you put a bounty on your opponent's space unit, you can use this as a way to kind of like do 3 damage to potentially take it out to claim that bounty. And you also have Force Choke, being a 2-cost event that allows you to deal 5 damage to a non-vehicle unit, and then that controllers draw 1. So, you can do 5 damage to a unit to kind of claim a bounty easy. You do make your opponent draw a card, but it could be worth it to kind of take it out without needing to attack. And if you control a Force unit, which you don't really play many, you can make it cost 1 less. And there is some stuff on the non-dark side, being some pretty nice cards here. So you've got Stolen Landspeeder, a very nice one that has a bounty itself, and this is one that kind of can go pretty well with Bossk, because it's a 1-cost, so a very cheap one to play, and it is a free power 2 health one. And when played, if you played this card from your hand, your opponent takes control of it, so you give it to your opponent. But now it's a card on your opponent's control with a bounty as well. Because the bounty of it is if you own this unit, so as in own this guy, like start off with it, then you can play it, and you can play it from your discard pile for free and give an experience token to it. So this is one you can't really claim twice, because you can't play it out twice, because once you play it out once, it's not in there again to claim. So it's not a great one to claim from Bossk when he's deployed, but a good one before he's deployed to play even necessarily turn 1, because you can play it out, basically like kill it or do the damage with it with Bossk ability, then next turn do another damage with Bossk ability to kind of take it out and put it back onto your board with a experience token on it, so it becomes a 4/3 you've played on your first turn, which is quite nice. And also you've got Covetous Rivals as well, being a 6-cost 5/5 that has grit, so the more damage it takes, the more powerful it becomes. And when it's played or on attack, you can deal 2 damage to a unit with bounty, so even more ways to kind of ping damage on things with bounties. And then you even got IG-11, which is a very nice one. Very cheap one at 5-cost, but very strong stats at 6/5. So 5-cost 6/5 is very good. And if your opponent would try to capture it, then if the unit would be captured, you defeat him instead and deal 3 damage to each enemy ground unit, which is very nice. So it's like anti-capture on this. And also when it attacks, you can deal 3 damage to a damaged ground unit. And if your opponent has something with bounty on, remember you can always ping damage with Bossk when he's in the lead area, and then this will have damage on it. And then IG-11 can basically attack and deal 3 damage to it without needing to attack into it. Not only that, but you got bounties like Deathmark. You got other ones in red as well, with Deathmark allowing you to draw 2 cards, which is a nice one to claim when Bossk is deployed. And you even have some events like Open Fire, which allows you to just deal damage on units. So for Open Fire, for 3 cost, it deals 4 damage to a unit beyond the takes own count and claim that bounty, which is very nice. You've got ways in its own color to spread out damage to kind of claim things. And that is it for today's video for Bossk. Hopefully that has helped you understand how to play Bossk, which aspect combination kind of helps you out best when it comes to your playstyle, and hopefully help you build Bossk and actually try it out and play it. Because Bossk is a pretty interesting one. I know it's apparently it's a quite popular one for the I can't remember if it's for like the Final Fantasy games team and stuff, but I've heard that he's quite a popular character. And he's a pretty nice one as well. Like the more bounties you get, the more options he has, and claiming things twice, like double draw, like draw 4, untap 4, gain 2 shields, ramp 2 is very, very nice. And I'm myself going to look forward to trying it. Just needed to get through all the other ones I kind of want to try before. But that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned as for next time. Maybe I think tomorrow we're going to be going over Kylo Ren. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. Otherwise, that is it me for today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.
Like a boss.